What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and when I saw this article, I just kind of shook my head a little bit because at the end of the day, it does make sense. And I got to thank Steve Kenobi for sending me this to give me the idea to use it. It comes from IGN. The headline reads, Star Wars, Palpatine's return in Rise of Skywalker was apparently Kathleen Kennedy's idea. And as much crap as we've been giving JJ Abrams, we have been raking this man over the coals, and I think he deserves a lot of it because of what he gave us for the finale of The Rise of Skywalker. A lot of that blame falls to him, but Kathleen freaking Kennedy, of course, a lot of this comes back to her, and we're finding out more every day. But let's see exactly what this says. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, which is currently pushing towards 700 million global haul, already passed that by now, has brought back Skywalker Saga villain Emperor Palpatine for the story's endgame, pitting him and his Final Order fleet against Rey and the Resistance. Though Colin Trevorrow, who was originally tapped to helm Episode 9, had credited JJ Abrams with having the idea to bring the Emperor back, basically, if you remember that interview, Colin Trevorrow said, well, it wasn't a part of the plan when I was there, bringing the Emperor back. A new Awards Daily interview with Rise of Skywalker co-writer Chris Terrio seems to shift the narrative a bit. And to be honest, Chris Terrio this interview has been out there and he talks about a lot of stuff. He tries to explain why Rose Tico wasn't in the movie. He says, well, it's not because we didn't like her. It's because, we wanted her to interact with Leia and we ended up having to cut out so many parts of hers because that interaction didn't work because Leia was dead and they were taking terrible cut scenes. He also tries to explain why it wasn't really shots at Rian Johnson, why there was just so much different in this movie. It's just part of the storytelling. Well, let's see exactly how Chris Terrio words this and what he means. In it, Terrio possibly credits Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy with wanting to bring back Palpatine. Quote, Kennedy and Rejwan, so she's the senior vice president over there at Lucasfilm, had a clear plan for where they wanted things to end, Terrio said. They had clear plans about certain narrative marks they wanted us to hit. They also gave us a lot of freedom within that. We knew Rey and Ren were utterly key to the trilogy, but we also felt there was no way we were going to not find a path of redemption for Kylo, the son of Han and Leia. Well, it's good that they were sure that, they were absolutely going to find redemption. Luke wasn't, Luke Skywalker, but the writers were, so good. That's when we really started aggressively pursuing this idea that there is old evil that didn't die, he continued. The source of evil in the galaxy is this dark spirit waiting for revenge and biding its time. The entity known as Palpatine in this version, and then he goes off and says his body died in Return of the Jedi, is patient and has been waiting. His body died in Return of the Jedi. Again, there's so much unclarity when you're talking about the way Palpatine returns. And it was not explained in the movie. Anybody that says that, they're doing the explaining for the directors. All Palpatine says is, the dark side is a path to many powers some would think unnatural. Or whatever he says, right? That's the only way it's explained. And then you have Mary down at the Resistance base is like, cloning. Oh, Sith alchemy, huh? Like, could have been one of those things, like just randomly spouting out stuff. They did not explain this at all. He dug his foxhole and has been waiting for this chance to reestablish his total domination. And here's the great interesting part right here. When asked if Palpatine had always been the plan prior to Episode 9, Terrio said, well, I can't speak to Kathy's overall intent. That was certainly discussed and was discussed before I ever came on. Kathy had this original vision that we had been telling the same story for 9 episodes. Although from the sleight of hand of episodes 7 and 8, you wouldn't necessarily know immediately that... Listen to this. Although from the sleight of hand of episodes 7 and 8, you wouldn't necessarily know immediately that we were telling the same story. God, that really tells you something. She thought it would be a very strong end for the 9th movie. This fits well with JJ because he loves magic tricks. I like how Chris Terrio is talking about JJ like he is a freaking child. This fits well with JJ because he loves magic tricks. God. When you rewatch the earlier films, things start to make additional sense. Ren and his devotion to the idea of his grandfather, the voice that he's always heard in his head, the certain similarities between Snoke and Palpatine. The intention was that by the time you get to episode 9, you realize there were real reasons this is all happening. It all shows how the story is being fought cyclically through the series. And that's the end of the article here, but when you go back up, right above the JJ Loves Magic Tricks, talking about Palpatine, and talking about how Chris Terrio and Abrams started crafting a plan for this, because there was no plan. Again, here's the thing. If they had this grand plan for the sequel trilogy, why would it be up to Chris Terrio and JJ Abrams to craft this story after The Last Jedi is over? You know, if they had some big storyboard where they had planned everything out, why wouldn't Chris Terrio, the writer of The Rise of Skywalker, have access to that? Shouldn't he know? But he says, well, I can't speak to Kathy's overall intent when asked if Palpatine had always been the plan. But here we go, after they talked about this, she thought it would be a very strong end for the 9th movie. Kathleen Kennedy did. This fits well with JJ because he loves magic tricks, like a dog or like a boy or like a child. I could not believe that I saw Chris Terrio say that, and in a way, I guess it makes sense. Kathleen Kennedy maybe actually showing a semblance of control and like having an idea what's going on. Unfortunately, it's taking the story in a complete wrong direction. I think that it's very clear that they brought Palpatine back for this movie so that they could have him at Celebration do his laugh, so that there would be a recognizable villain, because I do think that there's a huge chunk of people who consume Star Wars out there that don't care that Palpatine died in Return of the Jedi. They don't care about bringing him back. They don't care to be explained. They just see someone that they are like, ooh, that person. Wow, look at lightning. Wow, he's evil. And they just consume the product. I just think that's bottom line the case. Unfortunately, in Hollywood right now, in society right now, it's just true. But there's no doubt in my mind that that is why this happened. It was never planned, but then Kathleen threw this in there when they were trying to craft this. I'm not going to forget the way Terrio phrased this. She thought it would be a very strong end for the 9th movie. This fits well with JJ because he loves magic tricks. That's just saying, well, they put this down, we agreed to do it, and we rolled with it. But, so yeah, it looks like Kathleen Kennedy's idea to bring Palpatine back in the end. What a mess this movie is. And JJ Abrams definitely deserves so much of the blame, and will continue to be raked over the coals probably for a very long time. I don't think anyone's going to forget what happened in episode 9 and what he did to it. And now he's moving on to DC to ruin another one of my franchises. Yay! I love it. But Kathleen Kennedy, overall, we've been talking about it for years, deserves so much blame and really does. They need a change at Lucasfilm. They just do. And that's so clear to everybody at this point. To Bob Iger, it has to be. So whether they actually fire her or not, or just simply let her contract expire, I think they need to get rid of her immediately. Yeah, you need to get these plans for these next movies done. Like, you don't have a real plan for this next trilogy. You don't have directors. We've heard rumors of what it's going to be. We might talk about that in another video. But you need to move on from her and get it right at the head of Lucasfilm. Let me know what you guys think. I think that Chris Terrio is clearly saying that it wasn't me and JJ's idea. We just kind of went along with it when we saw this happening. But I think it looks like it's Kathleen Kennedy's idea to bring Palpatine back. Probably wasn't from any of that source material. Probably wasn't a clear ripoff of Dark Empire from 1993 or whatever that came out in 1992. That's been around for 30 plus years, almost 40 years. But anyway, let me know what you guys think if it was Kathleen Kennedy, if she is the one whose idea was to bring Palpatine back based on Chris Terrio's words. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.